The Soviet space program started a little bit before the Cold War. For instance, in the early 30s, there was the Group for the Study of Reactive Motion, and people like Friedrich Zander had designs on rockets about a decade or so earlier, but of course, the competition with America helped spur on the Soviets to develop their own rockets. But when they developed their own rockets, they launched them here in Kazakhstan, and Russia continues to launch rockets from here in Kazakhstan today. But you might not know that there were some other nations who tried to enter the space race. First of all, there was Pakistan, who created Suparko shortly after Sputnik was launched, and India created a space program shortly afterwards. But these were quite successful. For instance, Pakistan launched Raybar-1 in the early 60s, I think 1962. So I'm not going to focus on these space programs. Instead, I'm going to focus on Lebanon space program. Now, Lebanon space program was set up by a group of students in the 60s, so it was very small and had a very limited budget, but they did have some success. For instance, they launched the Cedar-4 rocket, which made it about 90 miles high, and the students were celebrated as heroes and their achievements were commemorated on stamps. But over time, the military looked to weaponize their rockets, which angered a few members of the group, and in 1966, one of their launches nearly hit a British ship off the coast of Cyprus. And with the Six-Day War looming, the CIA eventually stepped in and forced the group to stop looking into rockets. Plus, the Zambians also looked to try and get to the moon before the Americans, well, a man named Uncolozo did. Now, he was a former soldier who recruited 12 would-be astronauts and put them through training. Now, this training consisted of rolling down a hill in an oil drum, swinging on swings, doing assault courses, and even floating down the river in a tub. Now, they did all this wearing overalls and British Army helmets. Of course, they didn't make it into space, and Uncolozo was devastated when the Americans finally made it to the moon. And keeping in Africa and Central Africa, Uganda tried to set up a space program when Idi Amin ruled the country. Now, he had a bit of interest in space because he said a couple times that UFOs had been sighted over Lake Victoria in Uganda. But the space program once again consisted of nothing more than training, and it was just assault courses and the likes, so very little came of it.